Oh.
Danni Williams. It's the Danni Williams. I really wanted to get you as a special guest because the women's first game is actually today. I say today, November 9th, just in case you're already in November 10th, because you are in France right now. What part of France?
Limoges.
Limoges, France. So bringing it to you live from Limoges, France. And I really appreciate you joining me. I just really like to get some of the alumni, some of the oldies, just to talk about the Texas team. I want to know what you're up to now, especially for women's basketball. It's always kind of like you guys graduate, and then I'm always wondering what you guys are doing now. So, I just wanted to get some perspective. But you are a graduate transfer from Texas A&M. You came over to Texas. I think you only played 1 year at Texas.
Right.
You ended up making a statement. You were all Big 12 honorable mention pick in 2019. You led the Texas team in made threes, and you number 3. So that's just kind of perfect to me. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But now you are a pro baller. Can you take me through your college to pro life?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I remember in college at both my schools, they would just say enjoy college. Like once you get overseas, it's so different, and you're not really thinking like, in college you're like, oh, I can't wait to get out, and see the world. And but it's just so different. In college, athletes are taken very good care of. Mm-hmm. So going overseas, it's been an adjustment from that aspect, but being able to travel to different countries, still playing basketball and getting paid, it's just such a blessing.
Name some of the countries, because I know, but they need to know.
So I started in Puerto Rico. That's not technically a country, but that's where I started. And then I was in Iceland, Spain, Romania, and now I'm in France. So in my short time, I've been several places already.
That's wild. And I know from when you were at Texas, you are a family girl, family man. We could just say family man. You were a family man. Yes. And you're like matching pajamas on Christmas type of family man.
Yes.
And how has it been being so far away from them? You are 7 hours ahead. So how is that?
It's difficult. It really is difficult, but once you're over here for a couple of months, you kind of get used to it, like you just learn to adjust. At first it's hard because the time change is so fresh, and you're like, well, pretty much when I'm going to sleep, like my family is still at work. By the time they're getting ready to go to work in the mornings, I'm getting ready to go to practice at night, so it takes a little bit of time to adjust and like learn each other's schedules to be able to actually have time to talk to family and friends back home. But once you adjust and kind of settle in, obviously I still miss them so much, but you just kind of like get used to the fact like, I'll see you for Christmas, hopefully, and then it's just part of it. And I think it's knowing that I won't be able to play basketball forever. And so taking these few years as an opportunity to really travel and see the world, I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah. And going from your last game at Texas into the professional world, can you basically explain how that happened? Like the process, the timeline?
Yeah, so I hired an agent after the season, and then, comes the draft and things didn't really work out for me as I would have hoped, so it was pretty much a really long summer of just waiting to, get a contract. So my agents were working, they have partners all over the country, and they got me a job in Puerto Rico. And so I started playing there in October, which was even late for players. Most players sign a contract between July and August. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was a really stressful time of like, am I going to get a contract? Or, it was like, it was tough, I could say, to be honest. Yeah. It was really tough. But then it happened in October. I played well in Puerto Rico, and then I got home, and 2 weeks later, I got an offer to go to Iceland. So it was really neat. It's been a eye-opening process for sure.
Can you put a little bit in perspective what was going through your head? Because I don't want to necessarily. So for me, I'm used to track and field, and when you go professional, you usually stay in the same state. There's no drastic change. But
right.
For a lot of women's basketball players, it's a drastic change no matter what. So even Kyra Lambert overseas in Turkey, I think Joyner's overseas in Turkey, it's normal for women's basketball to be overseas. How did you prepare for that just in college? How did Texas help you prepare for that?
So I can say really, making that grad transfer year, so leaving A&M and going to Texas and having that 1 year to really okay, I'm in a new surrounding, but I have to adapt quickly. I'm going to be playing right away, I'm not, I think in track, if you transfer, you can compete right away. In basketball now they can, but back then when I was in college, they couldn't. You had to sit out unless you, I grad transferred, so I was able to play. So just going through that experience during my year at Texas, it was kind of like everything was a first at Texas. So I was adapting, but I had to adapt quickly because I was playing, right. So I really think being with a new coaching staff, a new city, a new team, a new environment, everything was completely new. So that better prepared me going overseas. It's still completely different in the aspect. You can't just go to Walmart and get your normal groceries. There's a language barrier, first of all, that's very hard. But just the feeling of being uncomfortable to go somewhere until you have to settle in, I think that really helped me in the long run now.
Absolutely. And what are some of your goals this year?
So I just want to play, as best as I can, keep elevating, go into a higher league and just kind of see where it goes from there. I don't really know how long I want to play. I do want to get into coaching at some point. And so it's just enjoying it, having fun, enjoying it, but then also knowing thinking about my future and okay, is this a good time to get into coaching,
Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned before, the Texas Longhorns first game is today, November 9th. I always have to put that out there since worlds away.
It will be November 10th for me.
Yeah.
By the time they play, I think their game's at 7.
I think it's at 5:30 and the men are at 7. I might be wrong.
Okay. Oh,
but regardless of both times, it's gonna be 11 o'clock.
Regardless, yeah, both, yeah.
Okay, so just moving into their game 1 against New Orleans, what was your head like at game 1, either at Texas A&M or at Texas?
I was super nervous, probably at both, just because for one, it was my freshman year. And, as a freshman, you're just oh my gosh, it's so fast. It's so different. And then at Texas, a new team, a new coach, it's just, I got to get settled, but it's so exciting. College basketball is the best. It's the best time of the year when college basketball is playing. I'm so excited there's a few games that I'll actually be able to watch tonight. So I'm excited about that. But it's a great time. It's exciting for sure.
And you were telling me that a lot about Coach Vic Schaefer. You didn't coach under him, but tell me a little bit about how you know him and how much of a good coach he is.
Yeah, so he recruited me out of high school. And then when I was transferring and I chose Texas, he's a great human. He's just a genuine, loving guy. And coaching, his resume, his accolades speak for themselves. What he was able to do last year just at Texas. It just shows he knows how to get it done. And so I'm super excited. Everybody, dislikes the Longhorns and when they're bad, so I'm really excited to see what they do this year, having a full year under him and going through the whole process as a normal season.
And do you think that the women's team is able to uphold the big legacy that the women's Texas basketball team has already?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for them to make it to the Elite Eight in their first season, I mean, that's already speaking for itself. You know, I'm excited to see, because I really think and I really believe that he could bring a national championship to the University of Texas for women's basketball. So I'm super excited for that.
Okay, I like that statement. Look, because Danni Williams
I believe it.
Yeah, because Danni Williams said he's now going to be done.
Hey, what does he say? Praise the Lord and go Longhorns. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just happy that you're all Longhorns, because you went to A&M first. So it's
let's not get it twisted. I still am an Aggie. I love A&M. A&M is a very unique school. I met some of my best friends in college at A&M. It's such a great school. I love it. I can't say anything bad about it, but I can't say anything bad about Texas either. I had a great time. I met amazing people, and just seeing everybody speaks about the brand of Texas. I'm in a smaller town in France, and the first few days I was here, I saw somebody wearing a Longhorn hat. So like the brand really, people don't really think about it, but the brand really does. It travels.
It speaks for itself. Okay. I like that saying.
Exactly.
So I have to give you a little bit of a background. Orange Bloods, we signed from NIL deals. We signed some UT athletes. And obviously that didn't get to happen during my year or your year. But signing we sponsor athletes. And one of the women we sponsor is Rori, Harmon. And she is also a guard, also number 3. And I just kind of feel like that's perfect for you to give her some game 1 advice. And she's a freshman.
Game 1 and freshman. I would say just be patient. Don't be in a rush. I know you're going to feel like you have to do a lot. It's your freshman year. You have to show, you have to prove, but she's under a great coach. Listen to him, trust him. She's going to do good representing and wearing that number 3.
Drops mic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Danni.